could set it. We could all make it like our ringtone. Oh my God, that'd be terrible. All right, go to 2-8 for product roll. That's good.
Good.
My day's always great until you guys.
Oh yeah, I heard that the other day that people were meeting about your quizzes Kahoot thing.
Oh yeah, yesterday I lost my mind. Well, I tried to like play a fun game. Immature. Turns out to be very immature.
Oh yeah.
They are.
They are very immature.
What class was it?
No, you guys are the juniors this year or something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they didn't have a real freshman year, so they didn't go through like the bullying. I
So,
think
that's it. Pretty nice.
Oh, you think that like puts people in their place?
No. Well, no, but like they still didn't get like the initiation.
No, I think they did.
I think.
But this
I
I
think
think
it's
that
I
is
think
terrifying.
it's
Well, I think you just realize like how behind.
All right. Let me back up like before the notes, and I'm going to like prove to you that product rule works. So, for example, if I gave you like 2x plus 4 times 3x plus 6, and said, I'm going to tell you what product rule is and show you why it works. And said, take the derivative. There are some people, even after I teach you product rule, that will forget it exists, and you'll just take the derivative of this, which is, this is wrong, don't do this, but what's the derivative of 2x plus 4? 2. What's the derivative of 3x plus 6? 3, and then they'll tell me the derivative is 6. So let's work out the actual derivative, like by expanding it, and see if this method is going to work. I think you can probably tell that it's not. But let's FOIL it. So that would give me 6x squared. This would be 12x, right? And this would be 12x. I can just go, okay, that's 24x, and then plus 24. So if I actually take the derivative after I expand it, I get 12x plus 24. The point of all that is, does this method work when you take the derivative of the first and the derivative of the second multiplied? It does not. But there is a trick that does work. So sometimes, like, distributing it out and just doing it is totally fine and, like, your best way to go. And honestly, in a lot of problems you get today, like, you don't need product. Some of the problems you don't need product rule, but we're practicing it because we will need it eventually. So what product rule says, so your book calls it F and G. Like the first, there's two things being multiplied together. Call the first one F, and the second one G. And Y prime, they do F G prime or G F prime?
F prime G plus
F prime G plus G prime F is what they did? Okay. I'll do that. So, what's F prime? F is 2, so F is 2x plus 4, so F prime is 2. And G, you're like literally just rewriting what G was. They will. And then G prime, so we got 3x plus 6 is G, so G prime is 3, right? Times F, which is 2x plus 4, and you're just leaving it. Well, if I did this right and the product rule works, when I simplify all this, I better get this, right? This is like doing it like kind of the long way. I would say the long way, but this is actually wrong. This is doing it like distribute and then go through this. I'm trying to make sure my product rule works. So if I distribute here, I get 6x plus 12. If I distribute there, I get 6x plus 12. So what do I get? 12x plus 24. So the product rule does work. If you don't do it, you will not get to the answer you're supposed to. Whenever you see two functions being multiplied together like this, it's not like a choice. It's not like, oh, should I use product rule or not? If two functions are being multiplied together, you have to use product rule. Around this time, most years, someone will say something like, why didn't we use product rule for that? Isn't that two things being multiplied together? It is. We could use product rule. What am I supposed to get? What's the derivative of 3x? 3. It's just like, what's the slope of that line? So let's use product rule. And make sure it works. Let's call that F, and that G. I would never recommend using product rule for this, but I want to show you that it actually does work. They say F prime G. So what's F prime? 0, and then G is X, but it's not really going to matter. Plus G prime. What's G prime? Okay, well, you gotta shut up. And then F is 3. And then if I multiply those together, 0 times X plus 1 times 1 plus 3 is 3. So why didn't we use product rule for this? Because it's annoying, we don't need to. But could we? Yeah, and it would still work. Product rule does work. You should use it every time you see two things being multiplied, but if you got this, we gotta just know we don't need to. Let's start looking at a couple of the notes here. So they call this, I already forgot, F prime G, and then G prime F. Okay. So if I start going through these problems, this 8x is my F, side of x is my G. So the derivative would be 8 F prime, which is 8, times G, which is side of x. With me? This is like, here, I should probably show that. That's F. That's G. I want the derivative to be F prime G plus G prime F. So F prime is 8. G is side of x. G prime, what's the derivative of side of x? Cosine of x, good. And then G prime, no, sorry, F. This is like the opposite of what it is in my brain, so it might take me a couple days to get it. But, and then F is 8x. And then there are going to be some situations where you can like factor out. There's going to be times that make you factor out, but for right now, that's not like on my list of concerns. But just so you can kind of check your answers sometimes. So I got a term here and I got a term here. What could I take out of both of those two terms? 8. Distribute backwards. I could pull an 8 out. And it would be like sine x plus cosine of x times x. But this answer is fine. This answer is fine. They're both legit. I just don't want you to see this answer and think you're wrong. You're not. Is that okay for what?
The cosine x doesn't have an 8.
It's really like 8 times x. It's multiplication, so order doesn't matter. So I can just take whatever out. Yeah. Why? Oh. Yeah, some lettuce wrap. I usually get the Hunter's Club. Yeah.
Jimmy John's.
Thanks. Alright, bye.
I love that sandwich.
Hunter's Club. Did you get the lettuce wrap or the sandwich?
Not good sandwich.
That's really good. Try to answer your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions on one then? Okay. Does it help more helpful if I do the ones up here or going forward? We're good up here?
The next one has the.
Alright, let's keep going. I mean, I can do both. So, even though this is called like G, you can still put F and G, or you can change the letters. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes I think about it as like first and second. Either way. So I'm going to put F there, G there. So my derivative, I don't like the G. So I'm just going to change this to H. So my derivative is going to be F prime G plus G prime F. Right? So F prime, so I've got take the derivative of this 2e to the x. Well, that 2 and that constant in front, remember, it just like falls down, stays there. And then what's the derivative of e to the x? E to the x. So f prime is 2e to the x. And then times g is the square root of x. Good. And then g prime times f. Well, g prime, I gotta take the derivative of the square root of x now. So sometimes you gotta kind of go off to the side and be like, okay, that's x to the 1/2. And then if I take the derivative of that, I would bring down the x, reduce the power by 1. So I'm just gonna throw that in the slot here. And again, we will get into like when you need to clean it up and when you need to like get a common denominator and do all that stuff as we go. Right now, I'm not concerned about that. I want you to get the product rule part down first. And then I'm putting f, so 2e to the x. So, for example, something that could be coming down the road, or just if they wrote their answer this way. I got two terms there. What could I take out of both of those terms? I can take all of it, right? 2e to the x. And on the inside, I have the square root of x plus. See how that's the same thing? So the 1/2 is still there, and I just move the x to the negative 1/2 to the bottom and call it the square root. And again, like if you get to there today, that's great. If you see an answer like that, I just don't want you to think you're wrong. We will work on like simplifying it down the road. Question on 2 there? Alright, 3. So they called it FH, which makes me happy because I call that F and that G. So H prime is F prime G plus G prime F. Just thought of how I'm going to remember that. It's fig plus GIF. The I is like this thing, you know. Looks like fig plus GIF.
On the answers,
Maybe that works for no one else. But
on the answers, it doesn't the other way for the second one. So like it does f prime g plus f g prime. Like it doesn't matter, but like when they show
it just
the
switched
order-
these two.
Yeah.
That's what's
Which doesn't
weird.
matter.
Like, that's fine. So that's what's weird about him. So, like, F prime G plus G prime F. Isn't that the same as F prime G plus FG prime? Or GF prime plus G prime F? Or, like, that could go in front of each of them. Like, the order doesn't matter for multiplication or division, or addition. So you can really switch these terms. And you can switch, like, within. I wouldn't recommend just like arbitrarily switching because if you just get a pattern you use every time, I think that's the most helpful. So like I'm just gonna stick with this fig plus GIF and just roll with that exact same order every single time. If you do a different order, it's not wrong. It just gets confusing sometimes. Like, wait, what do I do? What's next? Elaine, does that make sense with? Is that good?
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, totally.
On the answer.
Okay, so G, so F prime G. So F prime, well now I got a little situation over here where F is really x to the negative first plus 1. So I'm kind of going to go off to the side, like, okay, what is my F prime? Well, that would be bring down the negative 1, leave the x, reduce the power by 1, and then what's the derivative of the plus 1? Which is 0. So this is my F prime, so that's going to go here. And then G is 2x squared minus 5, and just stays. So that's my F times G prime. That's my fig. No, sorry, that's my F prime times G. That's my fig. Now I gotta do my GIF. So G prime, so if this is G, what's G prime? 4x. Oh, thanks for your patience there. Yep. And then I'm just writing down F. And again, like for now, that's fine. That works for me. It's not there. That's your product rule. You're okay. Questions on 3? Yeah, you look like you're suspicious. You're good. Alright, 4 and 5 are checking product rule with like a table instead of equation. So if I do 4 here, I would recommend rewriting h of x like this, like 3 times f of x times g of x. And then why I'm doing that is I'm going to put the 3 outside of my entire product. So that 3 is really just like it's like 3 coasts. 3 just kind of drops down. So the 3 is going to drop down here as well. And then let's do the product rule. So fake plus give. So f prime times g plus g prime times f. Well, now they're saying plug in a number. I'm going to write all this out. I don't know that you need to every time, but it's not going to hurt. And I know I'm going really fast now, so I'll stop looking. Right, good job in the process. Especially for the words. You got me something? What'd you say? A lot of Mexican.
There's cheese on them.
Yeah, that's just super restaurant.
I would
Yeah, that's just like a topic.
Just don't put certain never put peppers because everything peppers.
Like some cheese is okay.
What do you eat? Chicken.
I eat tons of chicken too. Sweet potatoes.
Oh,
Okay. So then you're looking up these values in your chart. So f prime of 2. Oh no, don't tell me that. So f prime of 2. So I've got 2 x values up here. I assume that's for like the next. Yeah, that's for 5. So f prime of 2 is -2. G of 2 is -1. G prime. Do you guys see how I'm getting the numbers? Good. We're not done. G prime of 2 is 2, and then f of 2 is 4. And then, like, on a free response, which this would probably never be a free response, but you could actually stop if they're on a free response. Because all that's left is like your 4 basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. But I think we can clean it up. So that's 2 plus 8 is 10. So it would almost for sure be a multiple choice question, so you have to get the number. But if it were free response, you can stop at this number. That's okay. Questions on 4? Why'd you put this here? Good. Can I erase or is that what's still right? Rice Krispies bar, Twizzler, Skittles. I ate like an entire bag of when I was a kid. It was like rainbow. I haven't been able to eat it since.
Yeah.
Taste the rainbow on the way out. Yeah, I know. All right, let's look at 5. So I would probably. Well, I'm seeing if you can tell what I'm going to do with this by now. How am I planning to rewrite this f of x over 2? 1/2 times f of x. It's a much friendlier way for most people to take the derivative. Plus 2 and then 3 minus g of x. So then r prime So f prime, so I'm calling that's got enough in it. I'm calling that f and that g. So then f prime is the derivative of this piece right here. So this is just like if I had like 1/2 in front of a cosine. It was like 1/2 cosine of x, what would happen to the 1/2? It would just drop straight down. So f of x is like the cosine of this scenario. So the 1/2 does still drop down. And then what's the derivative of f of x? It's f prime of x. Fix. Times g. And g is this whole piece. So it's 3 minus g of x. Okay there? And then give, so g prime, so the derivative of 3 minus g of x. Well, what's the derivative of 3? It's nothing. And then the derivative of negative g of x, like the negative drops, and then you take the derivative of the g of x, which is g prime of x. So that's g prime, and then I multiply that by f, which was 1/2 f of x plus 2. That's the calculus part. Questions on that, like a product rule piece. So then your job is to plug in -5. So it's r prime of -5. So again, I don't know if you need to write this stuff out where you put the -5 in all these spots. But I know it's not gonna hurt. And so for like teaching purposes especially, throw it in there. Here it's not calculus anymore, but it's not simple either. You got a lot of chances to make mistakes. I've got my 1/2 f prime of -5. So -5. So now we're in this row. F prime is 4 times 3 minus g of -5. So g of -5 is g, not g prime. G of -5 is -2. Plus negative g prime of -5. G prime of -5 is 5. This is -5. 1/2 f of -5 is 3. You gotta be kidding me. I got a fraction now? Plus 2. Exhausting. So in here is 5, right? 3 plus 2, basically. Times 4 is 20, and then half of that is 10. Plus.
You sure you don't want to give us our calculator the whole time?
It's just like a kick in the ass when you're already like down on the ground. Bullying me. So this is 3/2 plus 2. 7/2. And then times -5 would be -35/2. Then I would just stop. If you had to keep going, that's really like 10 minus 17.5. Is that the answer? So I think the calculus is like a lot of times you screw up on non-calculus more than calculus. Calculus here is not simple either to get to like here. But then after that, like this is not calculus. There's just, I mean, there's probably 15 ways I could have messed up there. I just got lucky that I didn't. It's just got to be really careful. Pay attention to every little detail. Yeah, Trey, what's up?
I don't know. So does that say 1/2 times 4 times 3 minus -2?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was times.
So it's 3 minus, and I got that from up here, right? When I wrote it here, it might look like a time, maybe that's time, maybe that's me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Other questions there?
No, they don't.
They give you like the tiniest little square.
Yeah, that is annoying.
It is like the tiniest, and then the one up here where you barely get any runs.
So I'm gonna rewrite it with an H. That makes me feel better. And I'm gonna rewrite it as 3x to the negative 1. Because like that, in this form, I don't really know how to take the derivative. 3 over x. But in this form I do, so I'm gonna rewrite that while I'm like, rewriting. And then I'm gonna call that my f. And that my g. So my derivative will be big plus if. You're laughing at my big plus.
No, I'm not.
Who's laughing at my big plus?
I like that. I think that you have to bring fig newtons to class though.
As a treat for like product rule.
Ew.
Well, like
Ew.
sometimes you bring
Those are
donuts,
so
you gotta bring
good.
fig newtons.
That's only the first
No,
time.
fig newtons are
Well, like
delicious.
sometimes there's leftover in the
That's
stack.
true.
They're so
And then you can teach
They're
that
so
to stats
good.
kids and pour it on.
I grew up on
Alright.
Yeah, it's the best part.
Exactly.
F prime. Topic here. F prime is the derivative of this part. So that is negative 3x to the negative second. Bring down the power. Leave the x and then reduce the power by 1. And then we did this yesterday. What's the derivative of ln of x? It's 1 over x. So yeah, that's fine. Just put that for now. And then g prime f. Wait a minute.
It's-
Wait.
it's
What did I do wrong? I went back to my old product rule for a second. This is just supposed to be G. My bad. And then G prime F. So G prime is 1 over X. That's what I was looking at. And then F is 3X to the negative 1. And like to me, that's a perfectly legitimate answer. At some point, we'll worry about from there, but the rest for later. Is that alright? Other ones that you're looking at, like, already, if you haven't done it yet, like, looking at it, like, this one looks crazy. Help me out here. Alright, I'll just give you time then, let me know what I can do to assist.
You can use a circle on the AP test.
On the AP test now. You could write one on there when you get it, but I'm not sure that's your best use of your time.
Either way, you still have to memorize it. To write it on the test, you have to memorize it.
Yeah, but if you write it on there when you get it, at least, like, you can let go of that memorization a little bit. But it takes a few minutes, so. So tomorrow we'll do quotient rule. We'll do the 2-9 notes. Then we'll be able to do the derivatives of tan, cotan, secant, cosecant. And then it's review test. So 2-8 today, so 2-9 will be tomorrow. What day is it? Thursday. 2-9 is tomorrow. So Monday we'll do like a review of, we need to practice Tuesday. I'll give you some practice problems for 2-8 and 2-9. Wednesday.
Oh yeah, what I hear about that.
I know we already.
Yeah,
We're past that.
Already
We're way
corrected
past
that.
that.
Come on, keep up.
I'm just trying to work through what the test is going to be. Wednesday, 2-10. So your test is probably Friday next week.
That sounds great.
You agree?
Yes.
Well, then let it be so.
I take my test Thursday after school.
What do you got Friday?
I won't be here Friday.
Maybe. What for what?
Huh?
For maybe. Let's make sure that's actually the test first. That changes, you know. If that's the case.
Or I can come.
You can come before school all you want. Obviously, but
I mean,
I give it to your dad at like 5 a.m. and have him administer it.
He'll just sit there and like he couldn't even help me. I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
true, yeah.
I was doing this at home. And he's like, "Oh, it's been a while." And I said, "No, it hasn't."
Yes, yeah. It's been 30 years.
Speed jumping.
You wouldn't let your cheese though.
No, he would not. I can take it at the school after school.
Yes, I like. She's hot.
Does the left color medicine?
You thought it was candy bar. Not even
Either way. Eat cheese, don't eat cheese.
Like that.
It's not like, I'm not talking like Taco Bell.
I'd say chocolate.
Like Peppers doesn't, Peppers is great.
Oh, pepper.
Doesn't ruin me.
And I eat there once.
Well, that's why he said.
I wanted it in dark.